and greetings from Chicagoland. I'm Munira Zahabi, the niche navigator, and welcome to Munira's Musings. I'm your host, podcaster, author, coach, and international speaker. Each week, I bring you insightful conversations with extraordinary individuals who share their unique perspectives and stories. Join me on this captivating journey as we explore new ideas and inspirations. Now, let's dive into today's episode with our special guest.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, the niche navigator, coming to you live with another guest. Our guest today is Kirsten Graham, all the way from Florida, and she's going to talk to us about how to build your $6 million business or six-figure business. So, it reminds me of the $6 million man. But let's talk about, before we start, let's talk about why we do this. The reason we do this show is, one, we want to take our entrepreneur friends who are sitting on the sidelines and asking, and they ask themselves about how is it that I haven't started business, and why do I have to start it? How do I start it? All those questions that can be overwhelming. Well, we don't want you to be overwhelmed anymore. We want you to just jump in the entrepreneurial sea with us and listen to all of the stories that we're sharing with you, partly because this can help you. Everybody has doubts. Everybody is procrastinating, but we know for a fact that you can do this too. And this is why we have brought you over the years several different entrepreneurs, and we strive to do the same for long. Tell me something. What is it that you want to do in life? And how do you get to it? So our listeners are going to show you exactly how to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's talk to Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. Welcome to Munira's Musings.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation with you today. You and I are both very passionate about helping people start and build businesses, and I love that.
This is amazing, isn't it? So tell me a little bit about yourself, Kirsten.
Sure. So my background is actually real estate. I started selling real estate in the late 80s. I moved on to the mortgage side. I eventually owned a mortgage company and a title company, and I love everything about real estate. But what happened was I did a ton of loans for self-employed people. And so I would see their personal tax returns and their business tax returns. And then inevitably they would offer to take me to lunch to pick my brain. And I started mentoring, and I mentored other business owners for a little over a decade before I actually turned that into a paid coaching business. And so I've been coaching now for about 16 years, and I love everything about it. Luckily I still get to work with a lot of real estate agents, but we also work with a lot of coaches and consultants. My business partner, her background is marketing. She has a degree. She lived in Chicago. I know you're from Chicago. She lived in Chicago for many years working for MTV and Nick at Night. But anyway, we kind of came together because we found that so many business owners struggle with marketing, and they struggle with just not having enough hours in the day. So we like to consider ourselves to be marketing and outsourcing coaches. We really want to help our clients generate leads. We want to help them do that by hiring someone who's fabulous that can take care of a lot of the back-end tasks for them. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. And I'm a fur mama. I've got a little 4-pound fur baby.
That's awesome. So let me ask you this. You said that you want entrepreneurs, coaches out there, all business owners to have, to grow their business, and they don't have enough time. What is one way they can do this?
Well, the first thing we always say is to eliminate. So first of all, as a business owner, ask yourself if you're doing things in your business that really don't need to be done. So I think that's the first thing. Sometimes we can find lots of busy tasks. So the philosophy is always eliminate things that are not moving the needle in your business or that do not need to be done. The second thing is automation. So before you start to delegate, you want to eliminate things that you do not need to do, and you need to automate everything that you can do. And that is another thing we work with our clients on, is helping them with their automation. So helping them with things like lead magnets and funnels and email sequences, and having a really proper CRM so that they can take care of notes and track conversations that they've had with people and make sure that they're not missing any of their follow-ups with people. So having really great systems in places and using technology is really important. And any automation you can do is going to help your business be more efficient and run effectively, and it's very cost effective. And then the third thing is to delegate. Delegate tasks that are, one, maybe you're not the best person to be doing it. I'm not a great tech person, so if I had to build our funnels and all of that, it just wouldn't happen. So, or if I had to edit our videos or our podcast, it just wouldn't happen. And then I would also be very unhappy in our business if I had to spend all my time doing things that I'm not good at and that I don't really enjoy doing. Could I learn how to do it? Sure. Is it the best use of my time? Absolutely not. So we want to empower business owners to get the support that they deserve in their business so that they can spend their time doing what they're meant to do, using their unique abilities. I mean, there's a reason why each and every one of us start a business. And if you can spend most of your time doing that, you're going to grow a very successful business, and you're going to be very happy in the journey of growing that business.
So let me ask you this. You started first with eliminate, right? So what does eliminate mean? Give me 2 examples of whatever you could eliminate and that you see in your practice that most people are doing it that they shouldn't do.
Yeah, sure. So eliminating things may be something like maybe you've decided to start a TikTok account, but your ideal clients are not on TikTok, right? Or maybe you've just decided to take on too many social media platforms at one time. So maybe you eliminate some of those until you can really get a handle on really being awesome on a couple of them, and then you add to that. So I think taking on too many things can be one of the things that you can eliminate. And then also looking at what's not working. If you've been doing something for 6 months to a year and it's not working, then maybe you need to stop doing that. And a great example that I have was I was actually working with someone locally who belonged to several different networking groups, but they were frustrated because they just weren't growing as fast as they wanted to. So we sat down and really looked at the different groups that they belong to. And this could be someone, whether you're in local groups or if you're in a lot of online groups. But we sat down and looked at the groups that she was in, and then we looked at where her business was coming from. And there were a couple of groups that she had really not received any business in. So the conversation we had was, well, do you feel like you've done a good job connecting with the people in the group? Have you been giving business? Do you feel like this is the right fit? Is there a reason why you're not generating any leads in business from that particular networking group? And the answer was, it probably was not the right fit for her. She just didn't feel connected to a lot of the people. So she eliminated that networking group. The other group that we talked about, she decided to approach it a little bit differently and to give it a little bit more time. And she was able to turn that around by doing some things differently in that group that started to generate her some leads. But what happened by eliminating that one group, it allowed her to focus more of her time and energy into the groups where she was actually getting a lot of business. And that helped her to increase her sales right there. So sometimes it's really evaluating, what are you doing and is it working? And if not, why is it not working? And then is there a chance that you could fix that, change things, do it differently to make it work? And then if not, stop doing it.
Right. So what you're saying is don't wear yourself thin by joining so many things that you think you have to be in so many places. Just
right.
Focus on one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be the same for, creating products or services. A lot of times people will want to have 20 different programs. Well, then, I always like to say, which I believe is true, creating a course or a program is really easy. In this day and age, it's so easy. The bottom line is marketing and selling those courses or programs is hard. And if you're trying to market so many different courses or programs, then it makes it even more challenging. So sometimes we'll have clients table a couple of their programs. You don't have to throw them away, but pull them out of circulation and really focus on marketing 2 or 3 things that are solid offers, improve those, and then do some market research to find out if it's time to bring in any of those other offers and start to market them.
Right. So then the third thing you talked about, and that was something that I honed into, was you said, delegate. You said delegate. Now I know most of your business is delegation. You talk about that with a lot of people, and you say, hey, let's help you delegate. most people are going to think VAs, right? Virtual assistants.
Mhm.
And most people, myself included, I don't want to give them control because I don't know what they're going to do right. So what are the first, what are the benefits, and then why should we give control to you?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say you never give control to anyone, right? Our job is to empower our clients to step into the role of CEO, okay? So we do things a little bit differently. So we're not looking for virtual assistants on Fiverr or places like that that are just going to do project work. We're really helping our clients hire virtual assistants who are going to be a part of their team long term. We've got clients going on 5 years now with their virtual assistants. So we're talking about bringing on team members that have hard skills and soft skills to do the job that you want them to do. And then we also have systems and processes in place to make sure we manage the tasks that they do. I love that saying that we lead people and we manage things. And in this case, we manage the tasks that the virtual assistant does. But when you step into the role of a CEO, you're never giving away control. You're actually, in some ways, you end up with more control, because when I hire someone to do a job, I am telling them how I want it done, when I want it done, and what I want the result to be. And that's important to understand that, yes, over time, your trust with that virtual assistant grows, and then you can often hand off things to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about a new project. Would you do some research on this? Would you give me some ideas on how we can make this work? Because now you're trusting them to do research and come up with ideas. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who decides if we're going to implement those ideas and how we're going to implement them. So I think women have a huge fear of giving up control, and it's just the opposite. You know, and this is really interesting. I never have men that worry about giving up control, just women. And I think that's because we have these societal beliefs that we need to do it all ourselves. You know, in order to be worthy and to really build a business, I've got to do it all myself. And the reality is, if you want to build a bigger business, if you want to serve more people, and if you want to have a high quality of life, the number one skill you can figure out is delegating. And it's so important. If you think about it, let's look at something like Amazon. You know, you don't, see Benzo like riding around delivering packages and packaging everything up. Like, this is a person who had to build a big business. He had to build warehouse facilities. He had to hire drivers. He has massive amounts of people working for him so that we can have packages delivered same day, right? But if he went into growing that business thinking, oh no, I got to do it all myself, I can't give away control, then he would not have the business he has today or the wealth that he has today. And as your business grows, and we start to see this with our clients, some of the virtual assistants move up into management roles, where those virtual assistants are then managing other team members, and they are being empowered to make decisions. Because again, in the example of Amazon, there have to be effective CFOs, there have to be effective vice presidents and upper level management in order to make a company like that run. And as small business owners, we are often afraid to look at ourselves like that. Like, how do I bring someone into my business and delegate to them and make sure that they're doing things just the way I want them done? And then at some point, how do I promote someone to be able to manage other people or to do more project development, things like that for me, that I can really entrust to do that? But if you want a bigger business, that's the way you really need to start to think about it.
I love this concept. Well, thank you so much for pointing out that men don't have this problem, but women do. But it is true, because we as women, we feel like we have to be in control, which you are saying we are. We just delegate for them to do the research and the preliminary work, which takes a lot of time. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and Miriam, if I could share something with you, what really surprised me, because I've always had staff, I've always had employees, what surprised me was when we really first started helping our clients outsource, the things that a lot of people would say, and they were all women, they would say, I feel like a real business owner now, right? So when they had that team member, and they started delegating and they stepped into that different role, it shifted them and their confidence so much that they said they felt like a real business owner. Or they would say things to me like, I felt like I had a big dream for my business, but now that I have the support in my business, I realize I can do 10 times more than I ever imagined that I could do. So it allows them to see bigger opportunities and more growth in their business. The other thing is, which is really sad, is that we would hear a lot of times, and we still do, I had no idea how much I was beating myself up because I couldn't do everything myself. And then when I hired this person and they're working 20 hours a week for me or 40 hours a week for me, and I'm realizing that how did I expect that I could do all of that and do the sales and do the client work and still run my household and take care of my family? And so they finally realized like how brutal and mean they had been to themselves with expectations that were completely unrealistic.
So now you're putting in a dose of self-care, because now as you outsource, you're now taking care of yourself, because the stress of that comes in with doing everything yourself. That's number one. Stress, worry, deadlines. And why you have a partner to help you do things. I mean, not a physical partner, but you know what I'm saying. Somebody who can take some things off of your plate. It helps a lot. Thank you so much for sharing that. What are give me one or two nuances that you think when people are starting to go in that direction? You know, and you've given us the positive parts already. What is it that they think, you know, what is the first initial thing that they feel when going towards the route of hiring a lead?
Right. So a couple of things. I think the first thing that one of my little pet peeves, I guess, is when people say things like, you know, I want to hire a virtual assistant so that they can just tell me what to do. And my first response is, well, they would own the business and you would work for them. Right? So making sure that you have the right mindset around the fact that you're the CEO of your business and you're hiring someone who is going to do very specific tasks for you the way you want them done. So I think that's first. The second thing is, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I can't afford it, right? So we have to stop thinking in the form of cost and start thinking in the terms of return on investment. When I hire this person, what is my return on my investment going to be? If I'm spending $250 a month or $500 a month, what am I going to be able to get in return for that? And one of the things that I will tell you is that if you're spending a lot of time doing things like editing your videos or creating your social media posts, for example, if you're spending a lot of time doing that, you have to ask yourself, am I doing that so that I can avoid doing what really is going to make me money? Because what we've also found is people like doing busy work because it helps them avoid having sales conversations. It helps them avoid really putting themselves out there and trying to generate leads. So that's one thing that people have to look at is like, if I'm thinking about delegating, this is going to free up my time to do what I really need to do to make money. But do those things that I really need to do scare me? And often the answer is yes.
Great. What is one question that I should have asked, which I haven't?
That's great questions. I guess one of the questions is like, how do you hire the right virtual assistant? Because you and I spoke about that briefly before we hit record. And so one of the biggest mistakes I think that people make is they want to hire a magic unicorn. They want to hire a virtual assistant who can do everything. This person would have fantastic tech skills, and they could do my bookkeeping, and they could do my social media marketing, and they could do, right? So you're trying to hire this person that doesn't exist. So you want to make sure that you're hiring a person who has the right hard skills and soft skills for a specific job. And I'll give you an example. If I'm going to hire someone who is going to take care of video editing, audio editing, and graphic design, I'm looking for someone who is incredibly creative, who's incredibly passionate about editing and graphic design. If I'm going to hire someone who is going to consistently get me booked on podcast interviews, for example, I don't need that person to be creative. I need that person to be very diligent, someone who likes to do research, someone who likes to do outreach, someone who's great at doing follow-up. So a job that is more, I hate to use the word monotonous, but something that is not creative, something that it's you're doing the same thing week after week, and there's a lot of moving parts that they've got to stay on top of, but they thrive on that because they love systems, they love processes, they love doing the outreach, they love doing follow-up. They're just very, very detail-oriented. So hopefully you can see that those are two different types of people that I want to hire. So you want to make sure you're hiring the right person for the job.
So in what you just shared with me, you can have several different virtual assistants working for you in different segments.
Yes, a lot of our clients do. They start off hiring the first one, and then they go on to hire virtual assistants to do different tasks. Yes, absolutely.
So Kirsten, anybody listening out there for you, how do you get in touch with you?
Sure. Well, first of all, I have a free guide for your audience. It's called Double Your Income with a Marketing Virtual Assistant, and they can get that at outsourcingforbosses.com, outsourcingforbosses.com. And if you'd like to reach me, you can find me at sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. Again, sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. There's a link there if you can book a call if you want to chat with me.
That's awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, now you've heard it. You don't have to take your business to the ground with you. You have to find help and delegate. That's what we took away, a lot of it. Eliminate the tasks that you don't want to do by delegating. That's what I heard. And so thank you so much for Kirsten for being on Munira's Musings. For all of you, thank you so much for listening. If you like our segments and you like what we are doing, please go ahead and share, like, and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week with another guest. Thank you so much. We'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been fantastic.
It was so much fun. I have one question. So and this is just for mine. I know the recording is on because I'm going to ask you to do one more little thing for me. What is it? How much does a VA cost? And how do you figure? We should have asked this question on the.
Sure. So anywhere from say $250 a month to $1,000 a month, depending on how many hours you want and what you want them to do. So most of our clients are hiring someone between $250 and $500 a month, based on because it really does depend on the skills and what they can do, because you want to hire the right person. So,
and do you help find the right person too? We
do. We have processes that help our clients depending on the type of virtual assistant that they want. So if they want a marketing virtual assistant who does video editing, audio editing, graphic design, social media management, all of that, we have a process for that. If you want to hire someone who is going to do things like get you booked on podcasts or even to book sales calls for you, we have a different process for that.
Got it. Okay. So what I ask Kirsten is, I hope you had fun.
Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of The Niche Navigator. We hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. If you found value in today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. Your support really helps us keep bringing you amazing content. For more updates and behind-the-scenes glimpses, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and all our other social platforms. The links are in the description below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you there. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week.